What if I told you Roman Reigns just returned with two of the most dangerous men in his bloodline, and they're calling themselves the New Shield? 10 years ago, Roman walked into WWE with Ambrose and Rollins and redefined domination. But SummerSlam 2025? Here he wrote that story, with Jacob Fatu and Zilla Fatu by his side. Three bloodbound beasts. No words. Just war. This isn't just a faction. It's vengeance in motion. Roman's old empire crumbled. His brothers betrayed him. So, he built a new legacy, one forged in violence, loyalty, and family scars that never healed. And the scariest part? They didn't attack anyone. They just stood there, in black, unmoving. The arena went silent. Something big is coming. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, because when this new Shield moves, the entire WWE roster falls. What if I told you that history didn't just repeat itself at SummerSlam 2025, it evolved? Roman Reigns is back. Not broken. Not bitter. But born again in a new storm of vengeance and legacy. And this time, he didn't come alone. He came with Jacob Fatu and Zilla Fatu, two savage warriors bred from the same Anoa'i lineage that built the empire known as the Bloodline. Together, they walked into the arena not as saviors, not as tyrants, but as something even more terrifying, the New Shield. For a moment, the lights cut. The screens blacked out. And when they returned, the entire WWE universe froze. The echoes of gunmetal footsteps rang down the ramp. Black tactical gear. No pyro. No catchphrases. No posturing. Just three shadows moving like ghosts through a battlefield they were born to control. Roman Reigns led the charge. But this wasn't the same tribal chief. This wasn't the arrogant ruler perched atop the WWE mountain. This was a man who had tasted betrayal, who watched his family fracture into chaos, Solo Sikoa declaring war, Paul Heyman switching allegiances, and the Usos torn apart from within. Roman had been silent for months. Absent. But not idle. While the world debated his downfall, he was forging a new legacy in silence. And now, that silence was weaponized. Jacob Fatu. A savage who walks like a wrecking ball with purpose. The Samoan werewolf. A man who destroyed locker rooms, who left legends in ruins, who carved a path of blood through Raw and SmackDown in Roman's absence. Some thought he was building his own empire. But they didn't realize Jacob was waiting. Not for opportunity. For permission. Then there's Zilla Fatu. Young. Hungry. Dangerous. The heir of Umaga's fury. Zilla didn't care for protocol or heritage. He cared for loyalty. And that loyalty? It belongs to Roman. He's the spark that turns strategy into chaos, and his alignment with Jacob and Roman isn't a gimmick. It's a declaration. Together, they didn't need to say a word. Because the message was already understood. SummerSlam 2025 was meant to be about titles. About CM Punk versus Seth Rollins. About Solo Sikoa's rise. About Cody Rhodes' redemption arc. But one entrance changed everything. No match was safe. No storyline stood untouched. This wasn't a return. It was a hostile takeover. As the New Shield walked through the smoke, cameras panned across the crowd, mouths wide open, kids clutching merch, grown men on their feet. It was like watching ghosts from the past invade the present with new flesh and blood. Roman stood in the center, Jacob on his left, Zilla on his right. And then they just stood there. Still. Cold. Calculated. Security didn't move. Commentary didn't speak. Even the lights didn't flicker. WWE itself seemed to hold its breath. And still they didn't attack. Why? Because destruction is louder when delayed. They weren't here for a hit job. They were here to announce a new era without saying a single word. No chair shots. No spears. Just presence. Just intimidation so thick, it crushed the air in the stadium. And if you think this was all symbolism, think again. This is Roman Reigns rewriting the blueprint. The Shield was built on rage, youth, and rebellion. The New Shield is built on betrayal, calculation, and blood vengeance. 10 years ago, Roman debuted in a SWAT vest next to Rollins and Ambrose, and they took over the company by force. But that alliance? It died when trust did. Ambrose left. Rollins became obsessed with proving he was better than the rest. And while Roman became the tribal chief, he lost the one thing that kept his empire invincible: unified loyalty.
But now?
He doesn't need loyalty from outsiders. He has it in his DNA. Jacob and Zilla don't follow orders, they share vision. Roman's vision. And that vision? Purge the WWE of its false kings. They're not here for the bloodline's past. They're here to burn what remains. It started with a stare. Roman looked directly at the camera, his face carved with years of scars and silence. He didn't blink, didn't smirk, just watched, as if daring the world to challenge what it just witnessed. Zilla cracked his knuckles. Jacob adjusted his gloves. They weren't performing. They were preparing. And then they turned and left. No promo. No attack. Just an exit as chilling as their entrance. But if you've been watching closely, you know what this means. Roman Reigns doesn't walk into any arena without a plan. Especially not at SummerSlam. Especially not with two destroyers at his side. So what's coming? Let's go back just a few weeks. Solo Sikoa proclaimed himself the new head of the table. He exiled Heyman, brutalized Jimmy, and surrounded himself with new faces: Tama Tonga, Hikuleo, Jeff Cobb. He called it the new era of the bloodline. But Roman watched. And waited. Because to him, the table isn't something you sit at. It's something you flip when the meal turns rotten. Now Jacob Fatu, once thought to be Solo's right hand, is standing with Roman. Zilla, the next generation's most volatile flame, is fully aligned. And if you think this alliance is just symbolism, ask yourself this. What happens when the last real king returns and he brings his own army? Because that's what this is. The Shield was a mission. The bloodline was a kingdom. But the new Shield? It's a revolution. One that doesn't want the crown. It wants the battlefield. And here's what should terrify everyone. There's no clear target. CM Punk and Rollins may think they're safe because Roman said nothing. Solo may believe he still holds the kingdom because Roman didn't fight. Cody may think he has breathing room because Roman didn't strike. But that's the beauty of fear. It thrives in silence. The next time that music hits, it won't be for intimidation. It'll be the last warning before annihilation. Because this trio doesn't care about brand warfare or title belts. They care about retribution. Roman wants to remind the world who made WWE feel inevitable. And now, with blood beside him, not ambition, he has the fuel to do it all over again. This time, without mercy. And the most brilliant part of it all? WWE let it happen. They booked the return. They rolled the cameras. They let Roman Reigns, Jacob Fatu, and Zilla Fatu walk straight through the front door like nothing had changed. But everything has. You may be asking yourself, what's next? Watch the locker room. Watch the main events. Watch who hesitates when that entrance hits. Because it's not about if the new Shield will strike.